So, in this video, we're going to talk about how chanters can take good care of their voice. So, there's a lot of information out there on this sort of topic on YouTube from various vocal coaches. And in this video, we want to distinguish what's important versus what isn't that important when it comes to this issue. And of course, I make videos for chanters. And if you're a chanter, you shouldn't have to go to other opera, classical, you know, secular music channels to learn this stuff. You should have one channel that covers everything that you're going to need to know as a chanter. So that's what this channel is. If you haven't subscribed, definitely do so if you want to see more videos like this. And you should be able to find everything you need to know right here. So why is this important? We have to understand that the voice is like a delicate instrument. It's like it's been said to be the most delicate stringed instrument in the world. So what does that mean? Basically, the voice is not a muscle. We cannot compare the voice to a muscle like my bicep, right? I can go to the gym and train my bicep, and I can train it to failure, and I can fatigue my bicep muscle and create these micro tears in the muscle. And then I'm going to rest and recover, and the muscle is going to regrow. It's going to rebuild itself, and when it does that, it's going to be bigger, right? That's the concept of hypertrophy. The muscle rebuilds itself after creating micro tears in it through working out. And when it rebuilds itself, it's stronger and it's bigger. This is not how the voice works at all. We want to be very clear to understand this. So, because of this, we want to make sure that we're not doing anything to fatigue the voice, because fatiguing it and causing any sort of strain or swelling to the vocal cords will, in the long term, not strengthen it, but actually it's going to wear it down and eventually it can cause damage. So we're wanting to avoid that. So that's what we are going to talk about. And everything I'm going to discuss here is it's not going to be a comprehensive list of things you need to do for a healthy voice, but I'm going to talk about some of the important things that a lot of people tend to overlook. And I'm also going to clarify, like I said, what's important and what's not as important when it comes to this issue. Before I begin, if you are an Orthodox Christian who wants to learn Byzantine music, but maybe you are not able to go study in Greece, maybe you are not able to go to the seminary, maybe you're not, maybe um, the setup and structure of many chanting schools does not work for you due to the deadlines and such. This is the place for you. If you want to click the link in the description of this video and in the comments, the pinned comments, you can schedule a free online lesson and give it a try. Of course, you're going to need to put in effort. You're going to need to be consistent. It's not going to happen overnight, but I do work with busy people who have busy schedules and may not do well with deadlines and such. So I can work with you at a pace that works best for you as an individual. And I take my teaching style, the way I the way I teach, the way I chant, I look to the chanters in Greece, on Maldathos specifically. I go straight to the source and I take that and I bring it to you guys in English to the best of my ability. So if you want to give that a try, it's in the description of this video. You can give it a try for free. So anyway, what's the first thing we want to talk about? The first thing is our diet. People talk a lot about how your diet affects your voice. You hear them especially talking about things like, oh, don't eat dairy, it's going to cause mucus in your throat, which could be true if you have a dairy allergy. But what you really want to look out for is anything that causes acid reflux. It's a huge issue. And the issue here is you sometimes cannot tell if you have acid reflux because there is a condition that I have discussed many times or one time in a long video. And I'm going to link that video in the comments or in the description. There's a type of acid reflux, it's called LPR. And it's an acid reflux that goes up to your vocal cords. It's basically stomach acid burning your vocal cords. And it goes up in the form of air bubbles, basically. It's different than the acid reflux that it burns up here. It goes farther, goes up here. And the problem is a lot of people do not realize it's happening. It happens overnight. Um, and a lot of times you don't actually realize what's going on, but it burns your vocal cords. It causes vocal damage, and the symptoms are waking up in the morning with a ton of mucus, with a hoarse voice, with issues speaking. And this happens first thing in the morning because the damage is being done at night as you're sleeping. Now, this is caused primarily by your diet. The underlying cause is a lack of stomach acid. The pH of your stomach is not acidic enough, so this valve that's supposed to close does not close. It stays open, so the stomach acid comes up. And there are there's a way to fix this, and it's too much to explain in this video. I'm going to link the video I made about acid reflux LPR in the description. You can watch it, but just understand that your diet definitely contributes to this condition. For example, if you're eating junk food, if you are eating things high in sugar, processed things, processed grains, um, high carbohydrate, alcohol. Alcohol's a big one. This stuff can cause and trigger this acid reflux that may be going up to your voice, to your vocal cords. So you need to make sure that you are eating a healthy diet. And if you suspect you have acid reflux, even if it does not present the traditional symptoms, you should watch my video. You should make sure, you should sort of rule that out and get that taken care of. And, if you consistently, either way, if you consistently eat junk food, it's going to harm your voice in one way or another. And of course, the obvious things, don't smoke, don't vape, right? Hopefully, I shouldn't have to tell you that, but don't do that stuff. That's not good for your voice. So, obviously. And then the thing with alcohol, in addition to causing acid reflux, is it dries out your voice. It dries out your voice. Not only does it do that, but it also makes you unaware of the damage you are doing to your voice. So you're going to dry out your voice, which is going to cause issues. And when that happens, you are going to probably compensate for the dryness in some way by pushing more, blowing more air through the vocal cords to get the sound out. And the issue is if you're under the influence of alcohol, which people might do before they sing, hopefully you don't do it before like a service, but I'm just saying like um it's gonna lower your inhibitions, which makes you almost unaware of what you're doing, which is a problem. You don't want to be unaware while you're chanting. If you're doing things wrong, you want to be very aware. So that's the issue with alcohol. A lot of people also talk about caffeine and how caffeine dries out the voice and the vocal cords. I would say 1 cup of coffee if you need coffee, if you need that sort of caffeine in the morning to give you energy, 1 cup of coffee in the morning should be fine. Shouldn't cause an issue. Um, if anything, I would say the issue is not the fact that it dries out the vocal cords. The issue is that coffee can make you jittery. It can make you nervous, and that will mess up your breathing. That will mess up your breath control when you chant. So that's probably the bigger issue, in my opinion. You have to know your limits. You have to know how much caffeine you can consume without it making you jittery, and you need to find that balance. If that's an issue, if you often get jittery with even a little bit of coffee, maybe don't drink it, but if you still need coffee, if you feel that you need that in the morning, put a little bit of butter in the coffee. A little bit of butter, a little bit of honey. This is going to help. This is going to kind of balance things out with the jittery effect that coffee can sometimes cause. We all know we have to hydrate our voice, but hydration is not what you might think. You might think of it as drinking tons of water. The thing with hydration, the thing with drinking water is it gets to a point where it's no longer hydrating you, it's almost flushing out your electrolytes. You have to be very careful with how much water you drink. You don't, it's not like the more the better. That's not how it works. Um, you need to hydrate with water and electrolytes. That's truly what hydrates your voice because the water does not go directly to your vocal cords when you drink water. That's not how it works. First, when you drink water, it's going to hydrate your whole body. It's going to go to the main important organs of your body, the heart, the liver. It's going to go to the vocal cords last. But my point is, you have to hydrate correctly. Instead of just drinking a ton of water, you need to drink the right amount of water with electrolytes. A good sort of electrolyte is salt. If you can drink warm water before you chant with a little bit of salt in it, this is going to is a great way to give you the electrolytes that you need. And again, I made a whole video on hydration and how to hydrate your voice, and I will also link that in the description. Another great way to hydrate your voice is to use a humidifier, especially in especially in the winter, I would say, because you have depends on your heating system. The air is dry, and if you have the heat turned on in your house, it's going to most likely be very dry heat coming out, dry air, which dries out your vocal cords. This is even worse many times than the heat situation in the summer, the dry situation in the summer. The dryness in the winter is even worse in the sense that the air is cold outside and the heat is also very dry. So you need a humidifier, but make sure you keep it clean. I have a humidifier, I clean it like with vinegar and make sure you rinse it out, but you want to keep it clean. Uh, use it especially while you I just thought of something else. Use it while you sleep. Have it running while you sleep. And I just thought of this. It's not even written down. A bonus tip. Try wearing mouth tape when you sleep because a lot of us breathe through our mouth. This is really important. I can't believe I forgot to add this in. A lot of us breathe through our mouth when we sleep. And when we breathe through our mouth, it goes to the vocal cords, that air, and it dries out the vocal cords. We don't want that. We want to breathe through our nose, especially when we're chanting. We want to breathe through our nose. When we're chanting, maybe a combination of through the nose and the mouth. We don't want to exclusively breathe through our mouth because it's going to dry out our vocal cords. So I recommend you get mouth tape. You can get it like on Amazon, and you can wear it when you sleep. This is going to moisturize everything here and keep it moist, keep it from drying out. Another very important component of keeping our voice healthy is sleep. We all know we have to sleep. We have to get enough sleep. We have to get 8 hours of sleep. A consistent lack of sleep is going to harm your voice. That's true. Having said that, if you stress yourself out over getting enough sleep, let's say before a church service, if you put pressure on yourself to sleep, it's actually going to backfire because you're going to get stressed out about making sure you sleep and you're going to end up not sleeping. So, my advice, instead of focusing so much on sleep, I would focus on going to bed at a good time, and just on a day-to-day basis. And focus on getting enough sleep on a day-to-day basis, but don't put pressure on yourself, let's say the night before a big service, because that's not going to work. Instead, do everything you can to reduce your stress, relax, especially the night before service. One great way to do this is just going on a long walk, especially at night or in the day, and getting enough sunlight during the day. We want to do the things that are going to naturally put our body in the state it needs to be, where it's going to naturally produce melatonin, so you're going to naturally be able to fall asleep, at night. And I would say focus on getting 9 hours of rest, let's say before a big service. Don't worry about sleeping. Of course, you want to sleep, but don't put pressure on yourself to fall asleep. Just set things up in such a way that you can get 9 hours of rest, and that's going to be more than enough. Worst case scenario, a tip that is helpful. Let's say you didn't sleep well and you've got a service to do in the afternoon or at night. One thing that can help, especially if you're busy throughout the day, is train yourself. This might take some practice, but you want to take quick 20 to 15 to 20-minute naps. And what this can do is it can really reset things and give you a boost of energy and give you um, a sense of restfulness. It's not a substitute for sleep, but it's something you can do in the case that you didn't sleep the night before and you still need to be awake. You need to uh, be well rested for a service or something. You can try this. A quick 20-minute nap can't be more than 20 minutes. Set your clock, and it needs to be very, almost very casual, very, how should I say it, just as it is, just lay down like right now. If I were to do it, I would just literally lay down in my bed right now as I am, 15 to 20-minute nap. I wouldn't even shut the windows. Just real quick, get up. It really resets things. It's really going to help you. um Also, blue blocking glasses, these very good. They block the blue light. The blue light is like the light coming from my computer, coming from my phone. You don't want that at night. That's going to keep you up. If you can wear these at night before you go to sleep, it's really going to help, like an hour or so before you go to sleep. Ideally, stay away from electronics before you go to sleep. You know that. But staying up late is also something that people warn against. Try not to stay up late, but some people, myself included, have this certain disposition, whatever you want to call it, where my body is naturally more inclined, my circadian rhythm is more inclined to staying up late. I'm really not a morning person. Um, and if that's you, and and going to bed early is just not natural for you, and you're able to kind of have the schedule, depends on, your situation. But of course, I work from home. Sometimes I wake up early, sometimes I do not have to. But just know that staying up late is not the end of the world, provided that you actually get 8 hours of sleep. You should know that the quality of sleep will not be as good a lot of times versus if you went to bed at 10 o'clock. The quality of sleep before midnight is going to be a lot better. But if this is how your body is wired, and it feels like very forceful to go to bed early, then it's not the end of the world to stay up late, as long as you get enough sleep. Now, um, most likely you're going to have to get up early for the church service on Sunday or during the weekday. So it's going to be a change if you're not used to getting up that early. Definitely the case for me. If you're not used to getting up that early, it's going to be this sort of disruption. Ideally, you should go to bed and wake up at the same time every day. If you're not able to do that and getting up for the church service is like this time change for you, one thing you can do is, some things to make it easier to fall asleep the night before. If you take a warm bath, it helps, especially if you can use like bath salts and stuff. Take a warm bath before you go to bed. Not right before you go to bed, leave half hour or so for your body to kind of cool off. Some other things that help are you can take melatonin. You can take melatonin, depends on if it's slow release or not slow release. You need to take it, basically read the thing and take it when it says to take it. It might say an hour before bed if it's slow release, or I don't remember. It might say 20 minutes before bed. Just do whatever it says. Just know that there's different types of melatonin. Um, Also, tart cherry juice is good. Tart cherry juice, you can get it at the store. It helps melatonin production. Magnesium glycinate is great to take every day. It calms your nervous system. It helps you to relax. And so basically, sleep is important, and these are just some tips, some things you can do. Not everybody can go to bed early every night. There's ways around it. There's things you can do that can be helpful to navigate things so you can get enough sleep. And worst case scenario, like I said, if you do not get enough sleep, there's also things you can do to navigate that. Now we go into environmental factors. There are irritants, there are allergens everywhere. And depending on what work you do, sometimes I used to do landscaping, and you have to be careful that the irritants are not going into your sinuses. And a lot of different jobs pose this risk, and you got to cover up your nose and your mouth. Um, I have it right here. I just wear this thing. It's just a bandana. It's better than a mask. Make sure you get one that's good material. You can breathe through it, but stuff cannot enter in. So you have to make sure you protect yourself in that way. There's also allergies. In general, seasonal allergies, and I made a whole video on seasonal allergies. I'm gonna link it in the description. One thing I will say is be careful with taking medicine for seasonal allergies. You have to understand that the medicine, it's going to dry up everything. It's in an effort to, again, medicine. You know, I don't know what goes through people's minds when they make these medications, but you have to understand. I'm not even a doctor, but I know that the mucus production is the result of an irritant. And the mucus, the body produces mucus in an effort to protect your sinuses, protect your body against the irritant that's coming in that your body has a reaction to. So, what allergy medications do is they dry up all the mucus. Okay, that's not that's not what we want. What we want, it's just what we want is to get rid of what's causing the irritation. Or if we cannot get rid of it, we want to make our body able to adapt to the irritant, because sometimes the irritant is something like pollen, stuff that's outside, you can't avoid it, and our body has a reaction to it. Well, we have to understand, why does our body have a reaction to it? How do we fix this issue where our body is reacting negatively to this outside irritant and therefore producing the mucus? That's what we want to figure out. not to just get rid of the mucus. That's not solving the issue because we've still got this irritant that our body is having a reaction to. Basically, watch the video I made on allergies and you'll understand what I'm saying. Um, Now, after this, we have just the daily use of our voice. You have to be careful how you use your voice. There's an incorrect way to use your voice, the way we speak, the way we do speak in our everyday lives. We could be doing it incorrectly. Um, for example, you have to be careful when you yell, right? And people aren't sometimes not aware of these things. People yell at their kids or across the room. They go to a protest and they yell, or they go to a football game or something. You're putting strain on your voice when you do this, and you have to be very careful um, when you do this because you are fatiguing your voice. And it's also like going to the gym and grunting, you know, you have to be careful with that. You're putting pressure. You should never be putting pressure in this area. Um, and the tricky part is a lot of times we don't realize we're doing it. So we have to be very careful with that. And we also have to be very careful with the emission of our breath when we chant. I made a whole video on this, but we've got the vocal cords and we've got air passing through the vocal cords. It looks funny, but just I can't demonstrate it with a microphone in my hand. But we have the vocal cords and we have air passing through the vocal cords. And we need just enough air to get the vocal cords to vibrate, to come together to produce the sound. We do not want excess air being blown through the vocal cords. And you have to practice this when you chant using a tissue. You have to put the tissue up to you, and you know you're doing something wrong when the tissue moves. This is a paper towel. You can even put it over your head. But you need to, and I have a whole video on this as well, which I'm going to link. You have to make sure you're not making the tissue move, right? We don't want to go, Kyrie, I can't even do it now. I'm so used to, you know, you have to be careful with certain consonants, especially like the P, right? Parasku. The P consonant really blows air. And when you're blowing excess air, when this tissue is moving and it means you're blowing excess air through the vocal cords. This is not good for your voice. This is basically what's happening when we yell. We don't want the tissue to move. Mm. Parasku Kyrie. I don't know if you heard it, but I can chant the P consonant in a way that does not, and all the consonants and vowels in a way that does not move the tissue. We don't want to be leaking air. And all of us struggle with this. I recently chanted in a parish where there was no microphone. I'm used to having a microphone right next to me. It definitely takes some getting used to. It's something I need to get used to because I'm just used to the microphone. When you don't have the microphone, there's this tendency to yell. When you yell, when you push, it's going to damage your vocal cords. You have to be very, very careful. Um, it might seem harmless. It might be like, oh, I'll wait a day and I'll rest my voice and it'll get better. But just understand it wears down your voice over time. How do you know that you're damaging your vocal cords? First of all, if you start losing your higher range, if you can't reach the higher notes after, let's say, an hour, let's say after orthros, you start losing the ability to go into the higher notes. This is not good. Same thing with the low notes. If it feels like this sort of hoarse, gravelly sound throughout your range, not a good sign. You are blowing breath through the vocal cords, excess breath, and you're drying out these vocal cords where basically they're not coming together in a clean way. They get swollen. and then when they get swollen, they don't close properly, and then you have to push harder, or you feel like you need to push harder in order to get the sound out. And then what it does is it just becomes this cycle where it's just this cycle you don't want to get into, where you have to push more and more and more, and it just causes more and more swelling. You have to be aware of this. And if you keep doing it, if you keep doing this where you are pushing air through the vocal cords and they're getting swollen, the vocal cords will actually develop these like almost pimples. And if you keep really pushing it too far, these pimples will become permanent. We call it nodules, nodes on the vocal cords. And you have to like get them surgically removed. So have to be very, very careful not to abuse the voice, not to push too far. Again, or another thing, um, we talk about warming up. We never want to go into chanting without warming up. What is warming up? Well, when we chant, we're going to have volume, we're going to have range, and we're going to have agility. All of these things need to be warmed up. We can't go straight into chanting really loud. We can't go straight into chanting really high notes. We can't go straight into chanting complicated, elaborate things. We need to gradually warm up our voice to be able to do these things. If we go straight into it, it's going to be like a shock. It's going to be like a frozen rubber band that we just try to pull and it hasn't been, you know, it's going to break. So you have to warm up the voice slowly. Same with, you know, muscles somewhat. People stretch before a workout, or at least they warm up before a workout. They lift a lighter weight before they go to the heavier weight. Very important. You don't want to shock things into place. Again, I made a video on warming up, and I will link that below. So the bottom line is you need to take care of your body to have a healthy voice. If you do not take care of your body, eventually it's going to catch up to you. Other health problems that might seem to have nothing to do with the voice will catch up to you and will start to affect your voice, will start to affect your breathing, your energy levels, all of that stuff. If you're overweight, might want to lose weight. Um, in general, take care of your body. That's what I want you to get out of this video. And you can take care of your body without the use, many times, without the use of prescription medication, if you are able to. Um, is there any specific topic that I have discussed that you want to make, that you want me to make a full, detailed video on, if I haven't already? A lot of these things I already made a detailed video, but is there anything that I haven't made a video on that you want me to make a video where I go into, further detail with one of these subjects? If there is, comment below. And as always, if you know someone who would benefit from this type of content, definitely send it to them. God bless you.